tomb raiders. Ronaldo could feel his fur singe. It was a stone of the purest blackness. It reflected no light, like a void made solid. Nervous, he picked it up. Who said that? It was the stone. Eager. Thirsty. Kill the Emperor's daughter. Now you, Emperor. That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once, and he had a sneaking suspicion the gem would try to control him. Why not capture the core of Sky Ripper instead? It was the eye of a lost god torn out by the transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon. "What's the core?" said the stone anxiously. "Leave me dead. I will give you the power to do what you want." But even though Renato knew how evil the gem was, he had a clever plan for dealing with it. The gem could give great power, but it was evil. But Renato had a plan. He would divide the stone into the power half and the evil half. He sought out the sage Calaveras.
"Oh, you need a mirror of splitting."
Croaked Calaveras.
"I can make one."
Calaveras set up various shiny things. And soon Renato was setting the stone down in the middle of Calaveras' lab. There was a flash, and now Renato was looking at himself, except with a mustache and a goatee and darker hair. There were two Iblis Stones, one light and one dark. Renato took the light one. He felt a rush of great power. Now I could defeat the Emperor. Wait a minute. Unfortunately, he couldn't think of any way to use it without hurting someone. That wouldn't be nice. "Give me that," said his evil-looking twin, and he drew his sword. He only got it halfway out of the scabbard when he fainted from the effort. Obviously, neither weak, evil Renato nor powerful, nice Renato was any threat to the Empire. After the Emperor's victory, they were exhibited in a museum until time ended, which was soon after. He had tried something bold and paid the price for it. Every child could sing verses about the Sky Ripper, but ancient codices held hints of other things. A stone that ate souls, a ruby that drank blood, a jewel only a righteous man could give away. Were all these things the Iblis Stone? Long hidden in a buried temple. Another ancient item that was only resurfacing now. Drawn up from the deeps by the Emperor's horrific rituals.
already here. Cawing in frustration, they were still searching for a way in. Good. Then he hadn't come too late. Don't go away. Wait, what? How was he outside? Hadn't he taken an elevator into the depths of the Earth? Hey, you guys interested in real estate? Because you're about to buy the farm. There had to be some way to use the Iblis Stone. It was old, wasn't it? People are so much cleverer now. And Renato was pretty sure he was cleverer than most people. The Ravens at least could not get past this point. Obviously, the temple builders knew how to deal with tomb raiders. Renato really didn't want to become shawarma, or shish oak for that matter. It was a stone of the purest blackness. It reflected no light, like a void made solid. Nervous, he picked it up. Who said that? It was the stone. Eager. Thirsty. Kill the Emperor's daughter.
That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once.
And he had a sneaking suspicion the gem would try to control him.
Why not capture the core of Skyripper instead? It was the eye of a lost god torn out by the Transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon. "It's the core," said the stone anxiously.
But even though Renato knew how evil the gem was, he had a clever plan for dealing with it. As he placed the impossibly black crystal in his gauntlet, Renato had a sudden vision. Charred fields covered in dead ravens below a black sun.
Was it the time of the lost gods before the Transcendent Emperor? Was it the future? Feed these souls, it whispered. Take the power. He could feel the stone's hunger for souls, its thirst for blood. All right, I get it.
This was going to be interesting.
The ravens on Zenobia's island were no match for Renato. They screamed as the stones sucked out their souls. And with each death, he felt stronger. Take the power, the stone told him.
He couldn't do worse with Zenobia than he'd done with the core, could he? Zenobia was waiting for Renato. She was alone, confident as always. Fire danced at the tips of her claws.
Are you here to surrender? Finally, Renato caught up to her. He had never seen her scared before. At school, she'd been the determined, brave one. Now her eyes were wide, frightened. He didn't like seeing her this way. "Kill her," whispered the stone. "You cannot win your rebellion without it. Please." "No," said Zenobia. "Not that way." Oh, they had been so close once. Could he really feed her soul to his demonic gem? But if he spared her, he would not get the full power of the stone. Oh, how could he be the hero he wanted to be? Renato hesitated. Renato felt a little sick. Ever since Zenobia had taken the stone from him, he'd felt an ache that wouldn't go away. He missed it. He wanted it back. He needed it back. Why hadn't he killed her when he had the chance? She was the enemy. He hadn't even seen her in 14 years. Why had he hesitated? You were a sucker for an empowered woman. Renato kicked himself. Don't make that mistake again. Zenobia thought the stone was evil. Was it? Well, yes, but he still longed to have it back. He'd felt so good killing ravens with it, and yet he'd felt unclean ever since he'd touched it. She confused him. She'd made him want to be a better fox, and then she'd abandoned him, never telling him she was the Emperor's daughter, never contacting him since. Well, who was she to tell him the stone was evil? If he was a weapons engineer, Renato would make the cannonballs go much faster and fire randomly, obviously. The scientist's toes were pointing arcane instruments at the stone and looking at it through prisms and reflections. "Mine," said Renato as he... Then, a far-speaker toad croaked in something like Zenobia's voice.
Renato, leave the stone with the toads. It will swallow your soul. You'll kill everyone you love.
That did seem vaguely familiar. But Renato had an army to lead, an empire to bring down. Ah, the ruins. Renato had come there as a kid when it was still the fabulous city of Ubar, before the Emperor's ravens had come to pillage ancient books from its library and destroy them. Now the rebel council was hidden underneath the ruins. And between here and there, all these ravens to kill. They deserved it for what they'd done to the city. And the faster he could kill them, the more of a rush they gave him.
tried to be nice to Zenobia, not killing her and all. And what did she do? She stole the gem from him and made him kill all those scientists. Next time she'd see. Whispered the stone. Ravens? Renato knew how the stone felt. Each raven he killed gave him a little jolt of pleasure. But he could only kill them so fast, and the pleasure wore off too quickly. Hopefully soon he would face a more powerful adversary. Yes, whispered the stone. The more power your enemies, the more power I give you. I will make you emperor. But not with a bunch of mangy ravens. As he reached the secret entrance, he was shocked to see Zenobia talking with the council. She bore a white flag. The council has betrayed you, whispered the stone. Kill them. What are you doing here, love? Renato demanded. Come for the brown muffins?
She's worried about you,
Croaked the council speaker.
we all are.
You're not yourself, Zenobia said. Before they could get into the rest of the intervention, he leapt at her. Unfortunately, the council speaker blocked him, so he slew her and the other council members. I'm not giving up, cried Zenobia as she darted off into the ruins. I think I just killed the entire rebel council, said Renato.
See how much power they've given you.
But they were on my side, weren't they?
No one is on your side, except for me.
He set sail for the fleet. There, at least, there would be enemies to kill. Unless that was the Iblis Stone talking. He could never be sure. Anyway, who needed other rebels here? They'd only get in the way. A true hero fights alone after he's got all his friends killed. The portal was heavily guarded. It must go someplace they really didn't want it to go. Have you ever felt you're just going round in circles? Renato felt like that. The world was so beautiful. Everything was glowing, breathing, alive. Except, okay, the ravens he'd killed. But the
wind was alive, like a million fingers caressing his hair. He'd never felt so powerful. He never felt so sexy. Somewhere down the path would be the Emperor. Renato would slay him, most powerful man in Erda. And the Iblis Stone would give Renato all that power. And he would be Emperor. And then he would set everyone free. At last, he was face to face with Zenobia. She was still unarmed. No fire crackled from her claws.
Excellent. Kill her.
Whispered the stone. He raised his sword for the killing blow. Is this what you really want? She asked. Or is it what the stone wants?
Think of the power.
Insisted the stone. I don't want to kill you, he told Zenobia, his arm still raised. I know, but he could not put the sword down. It wants blood, he told her. I know. Oh, help me, he said. She stabbed herself. Take my blood, she said.
No, you mustn't.
Cried the Iblis Stone. Oh no! Why did you... He ran to embrace her, and she plunged her bloody dagger into his heart. Why? He said. We'll be together in the halls of the Valiant, she said. I love you, he said. Thank you. And the Iblis Stone screamed, and then it began to glow. It burst into flames. It burned like an ember. And then it was ash that blew away in the wind. And Zenobia and Renato died in each other's arms.